Hola, hola, buenos dias. It's me, Miss Kakamo, and I'm here today with a video for you on our new grammar topic, to-form commands. So what I have for us today is a video containing a note sheet, and there are a couple of ways in which you can submit these notes to get credit. The first way that you can submit these is by printing off this page. It is 2 pages. Printing off these pages and filling them out, taking images and attaching them to the assignment and then submitting. Or if you do not have a printer at home, there is no problem with that. All you have to do is just write these out on a separate piece of paper. Okay? So again, 2 ways to submit. You can either print these out, take notes on your printed copy, take a photo or photos and attach them to the assignment and then submit. Or you may handwrite these out, again, taking a photo or photos of them and then attaching them to the assignment and submitting. So either way, you will need to take a photo of the notes and then attach it and submit on the assignment in Google Classroom. Okay? So grab a pen or pencil, grab your note page if you printed it out, or you may grab a piece of paper and take these notes handwritten. Okay, so our grammar topic is on to-form commands. So first thing we're going to take a look at here to give us a little bit of background before we jump in. To start us off, what does to mean in Spanish? This is nothing new for us. This is a subject pronoun to that you should have learned your very first year in Spanish. And we're going to go ahead and fill it in. It means you. Informal. Okay, again, to means you, informal, so you would use the word to, the pronoun to, if you were talking to somebody directly that is around your same age, a friend, a cousin, a brother, sister, classmate, or even a pet. Okay, you would not use the to form if you were talking to, for example, your parent or your grandparent or a teacher, a boss, etc., a doctor. That you would want to use usted because that means you, formal. Okay, so to-form command, to means you, informal. Next thing I want to make sure that we know is what exactly is a command. A command is telling someone to do or not to do something. Telling someone to do or not to do something. For example, in English, make your bed. Don't touch the stove. Okay? Do your homework. Don't leave after midnight. Okay? That was a random one, but you know what I mean. Telling somebody to do or not to do something. So how many types of to commands are there in Spanish? There are 2 kinds of to commands in Spanish. Okay? And they kind of go hand in hand with this explanation here. So again, there are 2 types of to commands in Spanish. The first one is called affirmative. Okay? An affirmative, which is telling somebody to do something. Okay? These might also be known as positive, affirmative, telling somebody to do something. Wash your bed, make the dishes, wash the dishes, make your bed, do your homework, walk the dog, take out the garbage, okay? Those are your affirmative commands, telling somebody to do something, otherwise known as positive commands, okay? Then we have our negative to commands, which is telling somebody not, I'm gonna capitalize that, not to do something. For example, don't talk back. Don't waste your money. What else? Don't slam the door. Don't touch the stove. Don't eat my dinner. Okay? So I'm going to even write down here in parentheses, and I want for you to as well, the word don't. Because the don't makes it a negative. It's telling somebody not, don't, do not, right? Do not talk back, okay? So those are your negatives. So to recap, affirmative is telling somebody to do something. For example, close the door. That's affirmative. Telling them to close the door. Versus negative would be don't close the door. Do not close the door. Okay? So those are our two types of to-form commands. And really thinking of commands in general, that's two types. Whether it's to-form, whether I'm telling somebody in the usted form, it's affirmative and negative. Okay? So the next thing I want to look at here is strictly focusing on these affirmative to commands. In other words, I want to show you how to form a command in Spanish when we are telling somebody to do something, an affirmative. Okay? So quite easy how we form affirmative to commands. So we simply put the verb into the él, ella, usted form. That's how we form the command. We put the verb into the él, ella, usted form. In other words, if I am telling a person in the to form to do something, I put the él, ella, usted ending on that verb. So in the space below, let's do a chart here, okay? And I'm just going to star that is the ending that we put on our verb, okay? To extend this idea further, this means that AR verbs will get an A ending, okay? Think of your AR verb ending chart for present tense. O, as, a. Amos, ais, an. O, as, a. Okay, so either an A falls there, if it's AR. But if it's an ER or IR verb, O, ace, A. Okay, so ER and IR verbs simply get an E ending. So I have oftentimes students ask questions and say, well, Miss Kakamo, how is the person you're talking to supposed to know whether you're saying, for example, she washes the dishes, or you're giving them a command, wash the dishes? Well, that's all in the way that you're speaking to them in context, okay? So it really does make sense in the context in which you're talking to a person. They would know whether or not they're being told to do something versus you're telling them that he or she or someone else is doing something, okay? So let's look at an example here. I tell my sister, right, if I'm giving my sister the command, hey, Kenz, wash the dishes, okay? My sister's name is Kenzie, so if I was giving her a command, I might say, hey, Kenzie, wash the dishes. Or I might not use her name at all. I might just say, hey, wash the dishes, okay? So our verb to wash, let's fill it in. Our verb to wash is lavar. Okay? So if I wanted to give her now in Spanish the same command, wash the dishes, I take the verb lavar, meaning to wash, and I put the el, ella, usted form ending on it, which is simply an A. So I would say lava los platos. Oye, Kenzie, lava los platos. Now I'm saying to her, right? The to form, because I'm talking, saying, hey, Kenzie, you wash the dishes, lava. Okay, that's how we form the command. All right, so we do have quite a few irregulars for affirmative to commands. These are only for affirmative. I have a little jingle that I will share with you. It's a YouTube video to help you remember these irregulars. Okay, so these irregulars are as follows. The verb venir, to come. The irregular command is ven. Tener, to have. The irregular command is ten. Poner, to put, place, or set. The irregular command is pon. Salir, to leave. The irregular command is sal. Hacer, to do or to make. The irregular command is haz. Decir, to say or tell. The irregular command is di. Ser, to be. The irregular command is se, with an accent over the E. Ir, to go. The irregular command is ve. Again, make sure you have the accent over the E and se. That being said, these irregulars, because they are irregular, do not get either an A or E put on the end of them. They're irregular, therefore, this word is the entire command. Again, you do not put an A or E ending on any of these verbs or any of these irregular commands, okay? This is the command in its entirety. It's just this word. Unlike the regulars where, yes, you plug in an A or an E, for example, lavar, lava. These are irregular, therefore just this is the command. Again, you don't put an ending on these commands because they are irregulars. So for example, go to school. Well, go, to go is the verb ir. The irregular form is ve. Ve a la escuela. Notice I don't put an ending on there. Okay? These are the only irregulars for affirmative 2. Okay? So to recap, commands are telling somebody to do or not to do something. Affirmative is the name of telling someone to do something. Negative is the name of the command telling somebody not to or don't do something. To form an affirmative 2 command, we simply put the verb in the el, ella, usted form, meaning that an AR verb will get an A ending and an ER verb will get an E ending to command somebody. Okay? So if I want to say wash the dishes, the verb to wash is lavar. AR verb would get an A ending. Lava los platos. And here are the irregulars, which again do not get these an A or E ending. Okay? If I want to say to my sister, come here. Here is aquí, A-Q-U-I with an accent, right? So if I want to say, come here, I would say, ven aquí. Come here, ven aquí. Okay? So that is it for the affirmatives. And the next page of this is the negatives. Okay? Again, I'm going to make a little note here. These are the commands that say don't. Don't. That makes them negative. Don't touch the stove. Don't watch that TV show. Don't wait until 10 p.m. to do your homework. Don't listen to music so loudly. Okay? These are your negative 2 commands. So to form the negative 2 commands, it's different than forming the affirmatives. We have to follow a few steps, which I will say to you is not difficult, but it does take time. Okay? So please, when you're forming negative 2 commands, even when you're forming the affirmatives, please allow your brain, this is super important when learning another language, you have to slow down and let your brain go through the steps in order to really solidify your ability to form these. Again, slow down, let your brain go through the process, and don't be so fast to try to form them on a whim. The way that this grammar topic will stay in your long-term memory is just slowing down and letting your brain go through the steps. I can't stress that enough. So to form these negative 2 commands, let me turn my light back on here. I got a motion sensor. Okay, to form negative 2 commands, the steps that we follow, number 1, is we have to put the verb into the yo form first. The most important step. Okay, we have to put the verb into the yo form first. Hint, we do this because any irregularity in the yo form transfers over into the negative command, the negative to command. Example, go-go verbs like tango or pongo, etc. Or verbs that are C to ZC, like the verb conocer is conozco, conducir, conduzco. Any irregularity in the yo form, we have to keep when giving a command in the negative to form. Okay? So once the verb is in the yo form, we then drop the O. Okay? Then a little switcheroo happens. We have to flip-flop endings a little bit here. AR verbs now get ES ending. I'm going to even star these. AR verb gets an ES ending. And ER and IR verbs get an AS ending. Let me pause right there. Take a look that now we actually are, let's do a little box here. Now we are actually using to form endings. Unlike with our affirmatives, we were using the el, ella, usted ending for affirmative. For negative, we actually are using to form endings, but they do a little flip-flop. Okay? AR verbs get ES endings, or ACE, and ER-IR verbs get AS, or OS ending. So they flip-flop, they reverse. Okay, can you see my hands doing a little reverse? If I had the reverse Uno card, that's what I would do here, all right? So if I told my friend, don't dance at the party, the verb to dance, we know, let's fill it in, bailar. That's not a new verb. Bailar. So putting that into Spanish, don't dance at the party would be no. That's our don't. Okay, let's follow our steps. Bailar. Put it into the yo form first in case of any irregularities. It's bailo. So no irregularities, but it's still important to put in the yo form. Drop the O, we have bail. It's an AR verb. Because we do a switching of endings, here we've got ES, no bailes, en la fiesta. Okay, let's do a quick example, although I didn't include it. I just want to show you what it would look like. Let's do an example over here together. And if you're doing these handwritten, you can put this example anywhere. If I wanted to say, don't leave. Don't leave. To leave in Spanish is salir. Okay? So if I were to now put that into Spanish, of course, our no is the don't. So we always start with no for the negatives. All right, now let's look at salir. We have to put it in the yo form first. Take a look. Salir is a go-go. Salg. Salgo is the yo form, right? So let's do step number one. Salir in the yo form is salgo. Then drop the O. We've got salg. Now, let's look at our ending. It's an IR verb, which means we get us. No salgas. Okay? Prime example right here of why we have to put the verb into the yo form in case of any irregularities. Now, that being said, sometimes there are yo form irregularities, but those are not considered actual negative to command irregulars. Okay? Those are not considered to be in the irregular category of this grammar topic. The yo forms are irregular, But aside from that, there are 4 verbs, cuatro verbos, that are totally irregular in their own irregular category. Okay? And those verbs are as follows. The verb dar, to give. Okay? Of course, we need now to put in our no for don't, because these are all negatives. Would be no des. If you're wondering why that's irregular, is because the yo form of dar is doy. Okay? So this is considered irregular because it doesn't really follow putting it into the yo form, dropping the o, etc. Our next verb is estar, to be, would be no estés. Now, folks, there is an accent over the E in estés. Again, if you're wondering why that's irregular, because the yo form of estar is estoy, and that doesn't follow our simple rules of dropping the O and switching the endings out, okay? Ir, to go, is no vayas. Again, if you're wondering why is that irregular, because the yo form of ir is boy, and that again does not follow the steps here of dropping the O and switching the endings, okay? And then ser, to be, is no seas. And again, lastly, if you're wondering why is ser irregular, because the yo form of ser is soy, and it again does not follow the rules here of dropping the O and swapping endings. Okay? So example here, don't be mean. I'm looking at an irregular example. Don't be mean would be no seas. Antipático. And if you're wondering why I chose ser instead of estar, because they are both to be, we use the verb ser when we are talking about somebody's physical personality characteristics. Okay? No seas antipático. Don't be mean. Okay? So to recap, negative to commands, of course, is like saying don't, telling somebody not to do something. Putting the verb into the yo form first, and we must do that in case there are any irregulars in the yo form. Okay? For example, here, tengo, pongo, or C to Z Cs like conozco, conduzco. Once the verb is in the yo form, we drop the O off, and then we have to do a switcheroo of endings. So AR verbs get ace, ER and IR verbs get as. Don't dance at the party. Well, the verb is bailar, AR. So remember, switching endings. No, of course, we have to always start with no for negatives. No bailes en la fiesta. And below here are our irregulars. Okay? So, to get credit for this activity, please make sure you submit a clear photo of these notes to me. Either embedded into the document that I have there, or just simply attaching it to the assignment and submitting on Classroom. Okay, so reach out to me with any questions or anything that I can clarify on to form affirmative and negative commands for you. Muchas gracias y adiós.